Hello, my friend, and welcome to another Simple Principles video. And this week, or today specifically, being Star Wars Day, I want to talk about the hero's journey. George Lucas, when he was writing the first drafts of Star Wars, when you watch the movies, you can see what he's done. And he said this as well. He did absolutely follow the hero's journey template. The hero's journey comes from work that was done, I think, by Carl Jung to understand, looking back through historical stories, tales, fairy tales, all that sort of thing, to codify what's going on. I mentioned before, and you'll be aware as well, as human beings, we like stories because we can relate to them. It allows us to process the world we see around us. And Carl Jung and others started thinking, okay, so is there something in this? Is there something that we could package, if you like, to say, right, there you go, follow this, and yeah, pretty good to go. So, of course, the hero's journey was, again, thinking back to Star Wars or any film, really, any good film. Somebody doesn't really want to go on adventure, really doesn't, is quite happy as they are. Then there's a call to adventure. Something happens to force them into taking action. And then along the way, they get a mentor, a wizard. In Star Wars, it was Obi-Wan Kenobi or Ben Kenobi, who helped Luke to train him and to help him understand what was going on in the world or in the universe. And there's challenges and temptations. So will Luke go on the good side or the bad side? What side of the force is he on? And then something happens where it's a metaphorical death and rebirth. Something happens where the hero is in effect reborn and realizes, oh my God, yes, I am the right person. Or right, okay, this is my calling. This is what I need to do. And the transformation happens. So in Star Wars, for example, Luke realizes, yes, you know what, I am going to be a Jedi, and off he goes. And there's a bit of an atonement there. There's a bit of realizing, yeah, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should have done this, but okay, I've now got the right idea, and I'll crack on. And then he returns, or the hero returns, and there might be a final kind of battle or a final obstacle to get over, and then the hero returns home, and it's all good, and he's much better, or the hero is much better for the experience, because now they know what they didn't before. It's a very simple, very quick look at the hero's journey. And if you go online, just go on Google, type in hero's journey and put in images, and there'll be some really good images there to help you see that. Anyway, what that comes from is this book here, The Hero and the Outlaw. And it is the idea, this one is specific to companies, how they've tapped into that hero's journey. And you may recall from, if anyone that did the Discover Your Magic, one of the key elements of that hero's journey is around recognizing the archetypes involved. So, for example, you've got your explorer, you've got your magician, you've got your jester, you've got your innocent, you've got your sage, you've got your hero, you've got the outlaw. Called different names, but the idea is the same. You have different characters that must make up a story in order to move it along, and it's the same as in life. And this is why I'm bringing this up. You will have a hero's journey. You are the hero. You are the protagonist. And especially if you're in business or you're thinking of starting business, maybe you had business before and it's not worked out. Well, that's your journey. That's your hero's journey. And that's what people want to hear about. That's what people listen to. Not the marketing, not the flashy images, not the clever emails. They look for authenticity. They look for realism. They look to understand you, who you are, where have you come from. So, for example, for me, I've mentioned this a number of times, and I think I did a video on it as well, where my hero's journey was that I collapsed at work one day, just crumbled to the floor. I was stood up talking to someone at a desk, and suddenly just, and the next thing I know, I woke up in the first aid room. And apparently the person I was speaking to said, you kind of turned yellow like Homer Simpson, and then just out like a light. So I was taken to hospital for checkups. And what they said is basically that you're stressed. You don't know or they said that you either don't know you're stressed, or you're tucking it away and pretending it doesn't exist. And so your body is saying, you need to pay attention. And so for me, that collapse was my body saying, right, enough. If you're not going to listen to the aches and the pains and the twinges, we're going to shut you down. So of course that was a wake-up call. That was me starting then. I didn't want to go on the hero's journey, but bang, I was forced to go on the hero's journey, because if I didn't, bad things would happen. So I started my hero's journey, and my sage, my wizard, my magician was David Key, who introduced me to the 3 principles. And throughout my journey, I was a little bit skeptical. I was a little bit, whoa, this really, can it be this simple? So that was my hero's journey of like challenges. How does this fit in? Overthinking it for a while. And then I had that metaphorical death and rebirth, realizing it is that simple. Transformation. And as soon as I hit that transformation, that's when I started doing the YouTube videos that you saw, if you were with me at the very beginning, the first one where I was out walking. I had no intention of making a video on that day, but my transformation forced me to realize I need to share this, because it is so simple. And that's what led to that very first video. Now, if I had thought about the video and tried to plan it, then it wouldn't have happened, because I just don't work that way. I'd be thinking, I'm trying to make it perfect and trying to make it interesting and all this stuff, that just ditch it. Just be you. Hence why there's not a lot of production going on with these videos, because what you see is what you get. Anyway, as I said, for you, what is your hero's journey? You will have one. And that is part of how you build a business. That is part either for you personally, your brand, if you like. When you're talking to people, they want to know, where have you come from? How did you get here? Why did you make this change from this to that? And what can they learn from you? So keep that in mind. When you are doing whatever you want to do, have a think. Where am I on my hero's journey? Who do I need to help me? And what does transformation look like? And at what point do you start sharing that? It's all about value, isn't it? Sharing the value. Talking of which, thanks to everyone who emailed me after last week's video. That was an interesting video to make. But yeah, thanks to everyone who took the time to email and say, yeah, it's really good, it's really useful. If it was useful for you as well and you haven't done so already, let me know. And also a question for everyone, do you want more of those? And if so, what would you like me to do them on? More than happy to do them. Yeah, just let me know and I'll put something together. Okay. In the meantime, enjoy your hero's journey, because it is worth it. Until next time, bye for now.